The image of Roman victory is etched in our minds. Two armies colliding in glorious, bloody detail. The roar of the legions overwhelming the enemy.
Decisive action is required.
These are the conflicts that forged an empire, led by generals whose names, Caesar, Scipio, are synonymous with military
The
genius.
entire position must be secured by nightfall.
We assume that an empire built on efficiency would have meticulously documented every single decisive victory, detailing the precise moments that sealed their global dominance.
But the reality is a void. For all the exhaustive records the Roman state produced, for all the detailed histories, they left almost no verifiable account of how a legion actually fought a major battle.
This is the methodology of silence. The most successful military machine in history chose to erase the actual moment of conquest from the historical record. This anomaly begs the question, why did they focus on the boring, the procedural, and the mundane, while actively avoiding the dramatic?
The answer lies in their documentation, which reveals that Roman victory wasn't won by heroism, but by bureaucracy, engineering, and the cleaning of latrines. The historical documents are incredibly specific about the Roman military camp. They obsessively detail the camp's design, layout, and construction methods.
Every detail was standardized. The position of the headquarters, the width of the main pathways, even the precise locations of the water troughs and cook fires.
Yet, when describing the Battle of Pharsalus, or Cannae, the reports are often vague, poetic, and concerned more with the general's emotion than the tactical flank maneuver.
This isn't omission, it's a deliberate choice. The battlefield was chaos, governed by chance. The camp, however, was a controllable variable, a replicable formula for victory. The records even detail the officer responsible for the most mundane tasks, down to the man tasked with overseeing the
Faster, you
latrines
lot!
and sewage drains.
Put your backs into it, unless you want to clean this with your tongues.
This focus on sanitation and order demonstrates that for Rome, the greatest threat wasn't the enemy army, but disease, hunger, and disorder within their own ranks. The discipline that won the wars was forged not in combat, but in relentless, boring training. The use of heavy wooden swords, rudis, against a practice post, palace. The idea was simple. Make the training so much harder than the real fight that the moment of battle becomes the easiest part of the soldier's routine.
The wooden sword, heavier than the combat blade, ensured that when the actual gladius was drawn, the movements felt effortless, reflexive, and devastatingly fast.
The real enemy was not the barbarian opposite them, but the training post, the polis, which taught them mechanical perfection through endless, silent repetition. Crucially, battle itself was conducted in silence. The legends of a roaring charge are fiction. Communication was done through standards, horns, and precise hand signals. The Roman lexicon contains far more specific words for the geometry of their castra, camp, than it does for the nuances of a tactical flanking maneuver. This is the true methodology of Roman success. If you control every environment your army occupies, every camp, every march, every training session, the battle becomes a statistical inevitability. They documented the process of conquest, not the passion. The military records are filled with minute details on supply inventories, ration allocations, and construction logs.
The Roman military was, in essence, a complex, mobile bureaucracy capable of moving and sustaining 80,000 men across a continent.
This was only possible because of tools like the Groma, a simple yet brilliant piece of engineering for laying out perfect right angles. This obsession with straight lines ensured every road, every aqueduct, and every camp was built with predictable, replicable efficiency. As shocking as it sounds, one of the most consistently documented aspects was the sanitation protocol, the exact duty of the officer responsible for the sewage and latrine placement. This hyper-focus on the mundane proves the analytical point. They feared disease and disorder far more than any frontal attack. The Legion's greatest weapon was not the pilot. It was the ability to deploy a full-scale, disease-free, engineered city every single night, wherever they stopped. The battle was simply the scheduled execution of a logistical victory already achieved by superior planning and meticulous record-keeping. They preferred to record the fact of victory, not the messy process. The chaos of combat, governed by emotion and chance, was un-Roman. The focus was always shifted to the monumental victory celebration, the triumph. It celebrated the result, not the messy process. But the silence also served a deeper political purpose. It was a crucial piece of imperial propaganda.
But on the wisdom of this esteemed body.
If a battle report detailed the chaos, the mistakes, the fear, and the sheer luck involved, it undermined the narrative of Roman inevitability and divine mandate.
What they chose to document reveals their true priorities. We have exhaustive records on military pay and retirement benefits. Animated charts show a clear timeline. A soldier knew exactly when their pay arrived, their service ended, and what land they would receive upon retirement. This financial security was a powerful tool for loyalty and stability, far more effective than any heroic speech before
the Empire
battle.
grants you full citizenship and this final payment.
Thank you, my lord. It is an honor.
Their
Hold still,
commitment
soldier.
extended to
This salve will
healthcare.
prevent infection.
Roman military hospitals, the
How fares the man
valetudinaria,
in cubicle
were
3?
advanced,
The bone is
standardized
set.
institutions.
Clean the wound thoroughly, attendant.
As you command.
We find schematics detailing the precise organization and the types of advanced surgical instruments used to keep the fighting force operational. They documented the preservation of the asset, the soldier, with far more detail than the expenditure of the asset, the battle. Rations were also meticulously documented. The standard issue grain, frumentum, was tracked down to the gram, ensuring predictable calorie counts. This minimized reliance on unpredictable and hostile local supplies, making the army logistically independent and unstoppable. The condition of the armor, too, was a subject of intense bureaucratic focus, with records detailing required maintenance and replacement schedules. Their discipline wasn't about moral courage. It was a systemic adherence to a maintenance schedule designed to eliminate mechanical failure.
Soldier. Maintain discipline. The Emperor watches all.
Conversely, documentation of punishment was also meticulous, recording every flogging and every reduction in rank.
Fear of internal judicial process, of the system failing, was a greater motivator for order than fear of the barbarian sword.
Centurion, I beg you, I did not mean.
Silence. You will be punished for your weakness.
The true testament to their endurance was the march. Each legionary was a walking supply chain, carrying an immense weight, the famous sarsen.
They carried their personal fort, stakes for the palisade, digging tools, rations for weeks, and their weapons, all while covering phenomenal distances.
Every march was a construction project. They built temporary roads and, when necessary, bridges with astonishing speed and coordination.
Push that beam into place now. Faster, we haven't got all day.
This ability to instantly manipulate the environment, to engineer the terrain to their advantage, was the real strategic innovation.
This
how fast they
constant,
build.
efficient labor
Like
broke
insects.
the enemy's will
must
long
warn the
before
others.
any actual combat. The
Look
enemy
how fast
saw
they
a
build.
moving
They
city,
move like one man.
not just an army.
We must warn the others.
The silence of the Roman approach, the lack of the wild war cries of their opponents, was designed to be psychologically terrifying. Their discipline was a psychological weapon, a refusal to engage in the emotional chaos expected by tribal enemies.
We know their marching formations, the precise
right.
names for the
Extend the
square,
flanks.
the column, and the quick
Lock
response
shields.
wedge, ensuring order was never lost.
Even at rest, order was enforced. The contubernium, the 8-man tent group, was a micro-unit of reliance and peer pressure.
Their survival was intrinsically tied to the discipline and readiness of the 7 men next to them, an unbreakable bond enforced by the system.
The records show almost no contingency planning for major tactical failure, because failure was not considered an option.
Their system was designed to function so perfectly that no official report on the why of tactical maneuvers was ever deemed necessary for posterity. The entire system, from the pay ledger to the latrine protocol, was built to eliminate chance, fear, and human error.
The perfection of the process meant the battle was a foregone conclusion. The Roman victory was decided in the planning, not the execution. The true methodology was mastery over logistics, discipline, and documentation. They won by mastering warfare as an industrial process.
The most militaristic state in history chose to ignore the glamour of the fight and instead celebrated the predictable efficiency of the paperwork. The Roman military machine documented everything they could control and deliberately silenced everything they could not. The chaos, the fear, and the sheer luck of the battlefield.
The silence was their brand. It created the illusion of an inevitable divine force, a perpetual motion machine of conquest that operated above the messy reality of human fighting.
Triumphal archers did not celebrate the details of a siege. They celebrated the inevitable result, the successful completion of a perfectly calculated process.
The greatest lesson the ancient world offers is that bureaucracy, engineering, and discipline often outweigh individual heroism. Our anomaly is solved. The Roman legions never documented a battle because, in their mind, the true victory was won weeks earlier, in the planning tent.
This is the Anomaly TV, and we find the answers buried in the details. If you want more deep dive documentaries that reveal the silent methodologies of the past, please hit that subscribe button now.
Next week, we move from Rome to Peru to unearth Caral, the 5,000-year-old city older than Egypt. Click on the thumbnail to watch it next.